Hello everybody, it's me Scoop, and do you have an insane amount of DVDs that you wish you could watch just like any streaming service? Well, if you do, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that completely for free. Now, we're going to do it, like I said, completely for free using this app called Jellyfin. Literally, all you need for this is an old computer you're not using. It could be any piece of crap you have lying around, as long as you're not planning to have multiple people watching it at the same time consistently. It could be any bad computer you have sitting in your basement. So while the setup process for this is actually fairly simple, it took me 5 or 6 tutorials to get it going, just because it seems weirdly gatekeepy in the Jellyfin community. So I'm here to just make this as simple as possible. So before we begin, I'm going to be telling you exactly what we're doing in this video, and there will be chapters in the description for you to skip around and just see the parts that you need to see. So what we're going to go through is just the initial Jellyfin setup process. This is incredibly simple. You probably don't even need my video, but I'm also going to give you a couple of plugins to include that make it even better than it already is on its own. Then we're going to go over 2 different methods you have of getting the DVDs onto your computer. One of them is not free and is also not as good, and the other is free and a lot better, but the legality of it is questionable. You could probably figure where I'm going with that, but we are going to show you both. Then finally, I'm going to show you how to access the server from anywhere in the world. It's incredibly simple using this strategy called port forwarding. Calling it a strategy is a little bit weird, but I know port forwarding sounds a little scary, especially if you've seen videos about it before. It looks very complicated, but trust me, for this, it's like a 2-step process. It's very, very simple, and we're going to be showing you everything. So yeah, if you want this setup that I have here, where I've just taken all of my DVDs, turned them into a streaming service that I could just go watch at any point on any device, except for a handful of TVs, but you could always AirPlay from your phone if the TV supports that, you're going to enjoy this video. I mean, come on, don't tell me that this isn't pretty cool. Okay, so naturally, first things first, you're going to have to download Jellyfin. All these links will be in the description below. Don't you worry your little head off about that. So if you go to the Jellyfin website and you go to the downloads page, you'll see Linux, Mac OS, Windows, or Docker. We're going to be doing this on Windows, but the process should be fairly similar on Mac OS, so just download the version that you need. So just the basic Windows version, we're going to click download on that really quick. And it's going to take you to this very scary looking page. Literally just click on this one right here, Windows Installer Application. Perfect. All right, so once that's downloaded in hopefully no time at all, as you might imagine, we're just going to head into our downloads folder and open it up. So obviously we're going to want to allow it to make changes. Let's just close out of that. So welcome to the Jellyfin setup. It's just the typical setup wizard that you're used to. Agree to the terms. Basic install is all you need. Just install it wherever you feel comfortable. I'm just going to install it in program files because that's where it wants to go. Next, install, let it do its thing. So naturally, once you're done with that, you're going to just want to close out of the wizard, and you'll see a little desktop shortcut. So you just want to double click on that. If for whatever reason you don't see a desktop shortcut, I feel like the first time I did this, it didn't make a shortcut. You just want to check in your taskbar tray thingamabobber, and it should be right there. If it is, just give it a little click, or actually give it a right click and do start Jellyfin. Oh, it's already running. Okay, perfect. So you just want to do start Jellyfin if it doesn't auto start like that. And then you want to do open Jellyfin. Now this will bring you right back to the web browser. So we're actually going to close out of our old Jellyfin from the original server. And we're going to go through, there's a quick start guide, but you could also just follow along with my video. Obviously, if you're doing this, I would have to assume that you have some idea of how to handle computers. So I think you're going to be able to get through most of this on your own, but I'm still going to take you through it. So you just want to select a username and a password. So for this, we're just going to do Scoop Reviews, not to confuse with my other one. Set whatever password you would like and hit next. So first thing you have to do is add a media library. So when it comes to adding your media libraries, you're going to see it's pretty simple. You could do movies, music, shows, books, literally anything that you want to store on here. So naturally for the first one, we're going to do movies. Display name, we're just going to call it movies. And what I found to be the simplest option is to keep these saved on your D drive because it's a lot larger than your C drive is going to be. So it's, easier to store the data there. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our movies folder and our TV shows folder in here, specifically for the movies that you're going to want to put in Jellyfin. Now, for this example, I don't actually have any movies downloaded on my big gaming PC, but I do have these Destiny files that I have from a really long time ago. It's really not that important, but I named them Avengers Infinity War and The Lighthouse just to show you an example of how this is going to work. And then I'm just going to add a shortcut to it because that is a lot easier. Where did that just go? Oh, it put the shortcut in there. So just put the shortcut on your desktop for both of these. Create shortcut. Put put that right there. Back to Jellyfin. So just go to add folders, and then we can go to D drive and then movies. Very easy. I found that if you try to keep it on your C drive, it's a lot more difficult to find if you want to keep it on your desktop specifically. So you just want to click OK. And preferred language, obviously we're going to select English unless you don't speak English, and then you're going to put whatever country you want. Scroll all the way down for United States. Nah, we're going to leave that. All of this you don't have to mess with. Just leave all of this alone and do OK. So here we go. Movies, our first library. And then if you want, you can also add pictures to it. So for example, edit images. If I want to see my libraries and just put a picture of like my favorite movie or something, I can do that. We're not going to mess with that right now because it just doesn't want to work. That's fine. All this is good. Next, enable automatic port mapping. We are going to want to check that if you want to be able to access your server from outside of your home Wi-Fi. And obviously we're going to want to do that as part of this tutorial. Next, you're done. Bing, bang, boom. That's it. So you're just going to want to put in the username and password that you just made. So Scoop Reviews, sign in, and then boom. See, so like I said, these are like 2 Destiny videos, but because I titled it Infinity War and The Lighthouse, it picks up all of the metadata for these movies. You don't have to fill any of this in your own. And of course, if I try to play it, it's just going to play the Destiny video because that's what the file is tied to. And then also, to make this a true streaming service, you're probably going to want to set up multiple users. So obviously you have yourself under users, but to make more, you just want to go to the little home button here and go to dashboard. Go to users right here, add more. So let's say I want to give my sister an account. So we're going to do Alexandra. You could just set her whatever password you would like. Just let them know what it is, obviously. Okay, we're just going to call it Alex. Enable access to all libraries, or you could give them specific access if for whatever reason you only want them getting to your movies or just your shows, whatever. We're going to give them access to everything. Click save. We don't really have to mess with all of this. You could just leave all of it alone. Save, and now your family members can log in with their own profiles. Just when they open Jellyfin, they'll put in their username and whatever password they either ask you to give them or whatever you give them. And then they will have their own, like, continue watching, basically, is what that gives them. It's not necessary, but it is cool and a nice tool to have. But see, wasn't that so super duper simple? Because technically, we're done. We've set up Jellyfin. But now we're going to actually go ahead and add some plugins that are going to make this even better. So to do that, you're going to want to click on the home button here and then go to dashboard, scroll down here to plugins, and then you're going to want to go to repositories. So in the description, I have 2 repositories for you just to copy and paste. So just look for those 2, do add, and then we could just call it repository 1. There we go. And then we could just copy the URL that I have for you. Bang. Nope, sorry. Bang. Save. So that's repository 1. And we're going to call it repos 2. Copy the second URL. Boom. Save. And now if you go to catalog, you will see there are a whole lot of plugins for you to install. Now, obviously, we don't need all of these. The ones I'm just going to recommend because they were recommended to me and seem to make things a lot easier is we are going to want the TVDB. So just click install. Gotcha. TV Maze, install. Gotcha. Open subtitles. This gives you better subtitles, as you might expect. The other 2 are just for some extra metadata. Cover art archive, give you better cover art. Pretty much just look through here. Oh, box sets. You're going to want this one because if you have multiple movies or shows in the same collection, it'll have a much easier time picking up on those and will display those collections for you, which is really cool. And IMVDB. There we go. Okay. Those were the ones that were recommended for me, so I'm going to recommend them to you guys. And in order to install those plugins, you're going to want to just restart your Jellyfin server, which I'll show you how to do right now. It is as simple as going to your task manager tray, right-clicking on Jellyfin, stop Jellyfin, make sure it stops, okay. Right-click on it again, start Jellyfin. Bing, bang, boom, you've restarted Jellyfin. Just to be safe, we're going to close out of that and just do open Jellyfin again, take us back. So if you go back to dashboard, plugins, my plugins, you can see that they are all installed. So that's it. Bing, bang, boom. Like I said, you have Jellyfin. So if you want to add other libraries, like I said, for like ebooks, music, TV shows, all you got to do is go to Dashboard, Libraries, and add Media Library. And it's going to be the exact same process. So we're going to do this for shows because the example of how to get your DVDs on here is actually a TV show. So we're just going to call it shows, whatever. This all has the same name. Allow all, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was like, where the heck is the folder section? I went right past it. So right under content type, folders, D drive, TV shows. Okay. Now at the moment, my TV shows folder is empty, so it's not going to show anything. But now you can see at the very top here for my media, we have movies or shows. And like I said, no shows. So now we're going to go over the two strategies for getting movies on here. First, we're going to talk about the paid strategy that isn't actually very good. So what you're going to want to do is buy a DVD reader, which this is the one I bought from Amazon. A lot of them are $20 to $30, not very expensive. It'll look a little something like this, pretty small. You just use a USB to plug it into the computer, and you just one by one put your DVDs into the computer, and we are going to use a program called MakeMKV. So I have the link in the description once again. You're just going to want to do download for Windows. It'll download. While it does that, I'm going to plug in my drive here. So now we're going to set up MakeMKV. This is a very, very simple program. It's a little bit ugly, but it works very well. So, of course, allow it to make changes. Close out of that. Once again, a very usual, familiar, whatever, setup wizard. Blah, 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 blah. Just click through this, install it. Completed. Next. Finish. Okay, now you have a little desktop shortcut. So let's open up MakeMKV. So what it'll do is it'll scan. If you connect your disc reader, it'll just scan it. So right now I have a DVD of Survivor in here. It's like greatest moments of season 1. It's just like a 2-hour compilation of Survivor. All you're going to want to do is double click this here, open DVD disc. It'll take a second to do that. Now, while it opens that, I'm going to explain why I actually don't really recommend this method. As you can see, just opening the disk itself is pretty slow. This has nothing to do with computer hardware. This is purely the read and write speed of your disk reader. I guess if you wanted to, you could buy a really, really expensive, really fast one, if those even exist. But the other strategy that I'm only sort of going to show you is what I'm going to recommend. Because the other strategy is putting on an eye patch and grabbing your hook and saying R. However, I'm going to recommend that we go by game emulation rules on this, which is essentially, please don't just go around pirating movies to put on your Jellyfin server. That's not cool. I know we're in a writer and actor strike right now because they're not getting paid enough, but like, no matter what, they deserve whatever little residuals that they're getting at the moment. So if you have the movie on DVD, go ahead and pirate it for this. I think that's pretty fair. And if for whatever reason the FBI wants to check on you because you stole a car, you can show them your entire DVD collection, which I still have saved. And we're going to talk about the other problems with this method in just a moment. I'm still going to show it to you if you want to do it this way. 100% respectable. So now you can see that it's open. It is going to list the chapters. So usually for a TV show disc, it'll have just a ton of these listed. For a movie, it'll usually just be one very large file and a couple of smaller ones, which I think it separates out like trailers and home screen and stuff like that. So this has 2 chapters because it's 32 chapters, which is like the 2-hour compilation. That's 6 gigabytes. And then it's like a behind the scenes 10-minute thing. So if you do want to save these, all you're going to want to do is click this little file button here, point it to your TV shows folder, select folder, click this little button right here under MakeMKV, and bing, bang, boom, it's going to start going. However, you're going to notice that it takes 30 to 40 minutes per DVD. Like I said, that is just insanely slow and inefficient. I had 300 DVDs to go through, so I would have been sitting here for over a week just clicking that button, waiting for 40 minutes and switching out the DVD and doing it again. And on top of that, DVDs are only in 480p. 480p sucks in the modern age of like 4K and even sometimes even 8K displays. So that's why I'm going to recommend this other method. I'm going to let this run in the background, but you know. The other method I'm going to recommend is using this app called Bitcomet and a website called the Pirate Bay. And in order to do, I'm not going to give you specific instructions. If you really want to figure it out, it's A, not that complicated, and B, I'm sure you could find instructions somewhere. However, do not do this without a VPN. Absolutely Do not do it without a VPN. Just any of these, when you're getting your service set up, your Jellyfin server, just get a free trial of one of these and download all the movies within like a week or two before it runs out. And there you go. And like I said, please do not just pirate movies willy-nilly. If you need to, go to Target, buy the DVD for like $3 in a bargain bin, and then download it. Like, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. Let's do it the proper way. We don't just want to be stealing movies, because that's not right. You wouldn't steal a car, as goofy as that is. Okay, so like I said, all of that, actually pretty simple. So now we're going to get to arguably the most complicated, but also not that difficult step, how to port forward so that you could watch this Jellyfin server anywhere you want. Now, in order to get your Jellyfin server on other devices, there's an app for iPhones called Swiftin instead of Jellyfin. There is also a Jellyfin app, but for some reason the Swiftin app is better. I think what happened was the Swiftin app is like a real dedicated app, and the Jellyfin app is basically just the website that they kind of mushed into an app, so it just doesn't work nearly as well. But the Jellyfin app is available on a lot of TVs and devices. The only thing I've run into is that it's not available on Samsung TVs, but the average Samsung TV supports AirPlay or smart casting or whatever you want to call it. So you can just play it on your phone and cast it to your TV and then act like it's just running straight off the TV. So now we're going to get to port forwarding. So what you're going to want to do is go to a website that I'll have linked in the description, or you could just Google what is my IP address. This will give you your external IP, different from your internal IP, which you're also going to need. We'll get to that in a second. So for what is my IP, you're just going to want to look it up and have that saved right here. Do not tell anyone your internal or your external IP address. Bad idea, no matter how good of friends you are with someone. Bad idea. Do not do it. I mean, sometimes you think you're friends with someone and they could literally like swat you if you're live streaming. Do not give them your IP address. Save it for just you and your family. Anyway, now that I've given that little disclaimer that I really felt like I had to give, you're just going to want to log into your Wi-Fi router, which you can do by putting your IP address, or sorry, not your IP address, by putting 912.168.11. It's some kind of default, whatever. It should just bring you to your Wi-Fi router, or if you can't figure out how to do it, that's not working, that's only for Verizon, I don't know. You could just look on the back of your Wi-Fi router. You'll see right here that this one has instructions. It'll have the Wi-Fi name on it, the Wi-Fi password, how to actually log into your router, and the password for your router. So you're going to need that before you proceed. Just go over to your Wi-Fi router, take a picture so you have that. So once you're logged into your Wi-Fi router, it won't look exactly like this, but it'll be similar enough. All you're going to want to do is go to Advanced, Security and Firewall, Port Forwarding. So it'll allow you to create rules for port forwarding. So as you can see, we already have one created right here called Jellyfin. So all you're going to want to do is give it a name. So we're going to call ours Jellyfin. And then the original port and forward to port, no matter what you're doing, or no matter what computer you're on, for Jellyfin is going to be 8096. So for original port, you just do 8096, and forward to port 8096. Protocol, TCP, schedule, always, forward to address. You're going to do user defined, and this is actually where you're going to have to get your IPv4 address, which is like the internal IP. Getting this, fairly simple. You just want to go to the Windows search bar, command prompt, which is CMD, then type in ipconfig. It'll bring up all this gobbledygook, but all you really need is the IPv4 address right here, which obviously I'm going to censor because I'm not just giving out my IP address because I'm not an idiot. But yours will be right there. You could just take a look at that, copy it down, whatever. And then you're going to want to put it in right here and click Add to List. So now once that's done and you have your Jellyfin port forwarding done, I'm going to show you how to actually connect to your router. I'm going to show you how to connect to your Jellyfin server from any Wi-Fi. Okay, so for the example of you want to connect from another Wi-Fi, you could see here that we just went to open Jellyfin, so it says localhost 8096 whatever, and we're on our Jellyfin server. However, if I want to access it from anywhere else in the world, all I need to do is write down my public IP address, which you can Google in the description, like I said. You're just going to want to copy it, paste it in there, :8096, because that is the port that we used for it, enter. Okay, so I actually pulled a little bit of a goof here. I forgot to shut down the other Jellyfin server that I have running, my real one, as you can see here. But But that's okay, because the example still works the same. Obviously, I'm on a different computer than the one I have downstairs on my really old gaming laptop running this, and bing, bang, boom, here I am on Jellyfin, just like I showed you at the start. Although, obviously, you would only have one server running, so you wouldn't have this problem of, wait a minute, I created this server. How do I get to it from other computers? Right now, I can't, because you can't have two running on the same Wi-Fi, obviously. So super quick instructions on how to connect to Jellyfin from another device while you're on the same Wi-Fi as your server. All you have to do is make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi. Download the Jellyfin app for whatever device it is. As you can see here, I'm on a Roku on my TV. So all I have to do is open up the Jellyfin app. Normally you would be prompted to sign in, but I obviously did that already. And then it'll ask you what server you want to connect to, and it should list the computer you have the server running on. So all you want to do is select that server, go to submit, bing, bang, boom, you're in just like a normal streaming service. Isn't that lovely? So anyway, guys, that was my super quick but also comprehensive tutorial on Jellyfin. Everything you need to know to get your server up and running, nice and simple. Obviously, I couldn't give too much direction on how to use Bitcomet to get all of these movies in like nice 1080p or 720p quality, super duper fast compared to ripping a movie, but trust me, you guys are going to be able to figure it out. Just don't forget about that VPN. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to get to them as soon as possible. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and keep it crispy.